to everybody. We are still 2 minutes away from the start, but I just want to make a bit of a technical check. Can you hear me? Can you see the screen already? Is it visible? If so, please use the thumbs up option. Perfect, great. So technology is working, that's good. But then, yeah, let's give it 2 or 3 more minutes, then more and more people are dropping in. So we will start with the presentation maybe 1 minute after 10, 2 minutes after 10. So stay tuned. So good morning. I see a few more people have joined the webinar. And just for you to be aware, that we are most probably starting in like 1 or 2 minutes when, let's say, everybody has come in and settled down. So just stay tuned. So good morning, everyone. It's 11 o'clock, but I still see a lot of people coming in. So we give it a bit more time until everybody's settled. Just a quick question to the audience, the ones that have joined just now. Maybe if you can just give me a heads up, a thumbs up from the side panel, if you can hear me well, if the sound quality is okay, perfect. So feedback is instantly. Wow, that's great. Perfect. So we're waiting 1 more minute around. Now I see still a lot of people are joining. So let's give it 1 more minute. So I think we can slowly get started. I see like the amount of people that come in is decreasing. So yeah, to everybody, very well welcome to this webinar. I'm very happy to see that interest. Now, as well, for all of you to know, we had another webinar just earlier this morning, with as well a lot of, let's say, interested people from the German side. So, yeah, really happy to hold this webinar and talk a bit about our recent and let's say new feature, new module, our AI claim comparer, which I think really solves like one of the most critical problems and time-consuming let's say problems in the patent space to really compare the claims of different publications with each other. So I hope that for many of you, we have today a little bit of a presentation for a painkiller. My name is Viktor Rudolf. I think most of you know me, but for a few of the that are now new here, I'm one of the founders of IMRP. I'm as well our product manager, so really shaping the IMRP platform in its way going forward. And I'm as well a part of our customer success team, so the people that really help our customers in yeah, with their questions, with trainings, with the rollout and use cases and all these kinds of things. Before we jump into the real topic, first of all, a little bit of an overview for around about the next 30-ish, most probably like 25-ish minutes. We will start, as some of you don't know or may not know IMRP yet, with a quick introduction to us, who we are, what we are doing, but very briefly, and then we directly jump into the topic at hand, the claim comparer, and of course at the end have a Q&A session. And that leads me to a short side note. I think the ones of you that have joined our webinars already before, and you may know that, but the ones that are new, you have this GoToWebinar side panel. And I have a colleague with me today. It's Claire. She is actually behind the chat bubble there. So meaning, please raise all your questions that you have in there. And then Claire will either interrupt me throughout the presentation if it fits in. Otherwise, we will take all your questions at the end of today's session. Good. That's so far, and let's get first of all like a little bit warmed up. Let's make a little bit what we call the poll of the day. So if you can all have your mobile phones ready, just scan a bit the QR code here. Then we can yeah, all getting active at this early time in the day. Good. So let's see for the first ones to be joining. Oh, perfect. Already some coming in. Yeah, I think you can, maybe let's wait until we have around 10 people here, so it's a good starting point. 8 have joined. Let's give it a few more seconds. And yeah, maybe let's start already now. Assuming the first question, of course, as always, when we are starting in the day, how are things for you? How do you feel? Are you excited about the webinar? Are you curious? Do you need some coffee? Are you still waking up? Okay, so far 100% is curious. That's so excited, even better. Good, but then it seems we are pretty much aligned across the participants. That's great. And then always going a little bit already into the direction of today's topic. I'm quite curious a bit to see like how do you do claim comparisons today? I mean, do you download the PDFs and run it digitally? Do you maybe print them out, compare them? Do you, let's say, ask your lawyer because it's too complicated? Or do you already use the IMRP claim comparer? So let's see a little bit how that works. Okay. So a little bit of a split so far. And yeah, so downloading PDFs seems to be the majority of the cases. So then let's continue to the very last slide. Now, if we think a little bit about like the time that we need to compare two publications, is it like quite quick? Okay, well, so it's like everything from 15 to 30 up to the 60 plus minutes. And I think in particular for, let's say, everything above the 30 minutes, and I think we will really have a good time saver for you at hand. And I hope that you will like what you see. Great. Well then, thanks for your participation. And let's have a very last open slide before we jump into the topic. So a quick intro to IMRP for the ones of you that don't know us. You see, we have been around for around 14 years, so being one of the established players. And what we actually provide is a software tool for patent searching and in particular for the patent monitoring in a collaborative way. So meaning that you can across the whole organization collaborate with hundreds of people without a problem. Everything digital, everything in real time, with a really, really nice and easy to use user interface. So meaning, yeah, you can quite easily grounds. So meaning in terms of security, in terms of GDPR matters, all is somehow handled correctly. You can be sure that your data is safe and sound. As well, one differentiating factor for us is that we have a very, very nice customer success team. So the people that really help you in your daily work, that help you with, let's say, the product per se. But not only this, we as well help our customers with, let's say, more patent-related questions, because we are as well really not just those product experts, but as well patent experts and IP experts that really can help you with all your questions. Good, but enough about IMIP. Let's jump into the topic at hand. As always, I mean, why are we here? Why are so many of you here? Because in the end of the day, when we talk about patents, I mean, we have legal documents which have legal implication, which have or which provide the owner legal protection in a certain country. And our ultimate goal, of course, is that we want to ensure that we have freedom to operate and that we don't infringe on third-party patents. And I just recall that as well from a lot of trainings I've done with existing customers, or even in my earlier time when I was more on the end-user side, that in many cases, when you have a patent family at hand, you look at, let's say, one representative document, you check the claims, and then obviously, okay, we are safe. It is somewhat different to what we are doing, and take this a bit as the initial starting point. But as you all know, the claims can be different across the family and across the different countries. So meaning it is somehow really necessary. You need to compare the claims of all these different applications to get a full scope understanding of the protection. And of course, that's quite time intensive. So the first why is we want to help you out with this. Then a secondary reason for the claim comparer is really connected to this, let's say, more monitoring process. As well, I recall that from my early days when, let's say, in the monitoring process, an application was identified, and let's say one of the colleagues from engineering reaches out to me, Victor, we have a big problem. The patent is like very, very broad, and we somehow need to see how we change projects, how we potentially even, take some products away from the market. And then when looking at the details, it turns out it's quotation mark just a patent application, which is very broad. And we can even see from the search report that most probably, it will change, it will be more narrowed. But that means, of course, we have to somehow document, like in, for example, the IMIP platform, and why do we think this is critical? What are the important points? And then set up a legal status watch to capture the grant. And then when we have the grant, really compare the claims. Okay, what has not changed? Do we still have a problem? Do we adapt something, or is it now more green light and everything is fine? And that's as well something when we talk a bit about, let's say, prosecution insights or even competitor insights, and we can somehow track if a certain competitor always, claims I'm protecting the world, and then really goes very narrow. We somehow know that already, okay, when the new claim pops up, the new publication, okay, we don't have to be so worried. They always go really broad from a strategic point of view, and they will go narrow. Then the last quite important reasoning is more like a US-specific case. Now, when we talk about continuation divisionals, you may all know that sometimes we have 1, 2, 3, 10 or 20 US applications in the same family. And then, of course, we want to understand what is like cumulatively the legal coverage of in US for that invention. And then, of course, we need to somehow dig into the details. As you may have heard already before, like the claim comparer has been one of the highest wished features from our existing customers. Now, that's why we implemented it now. And we had a really close collaboration and discussion with IMIP community. So thanks a lot for that. And throughout that process, We as well collected like the feedback, how do you do that today, similar to what you have answered, and then just showing like two typical examples here. Like either you use, for example, IMIP with multiple tabs, have them compared, and somehow line by line, word by word, do the comparison, or you download the PDFs, opening them, maybe using like Control F to find terms and do the comparison. Or what I as well heard, that you really print it out, use I don't know, your pen, your text marker to really see like what is new, what is different, or where there's no difference. And I think already here we see like the big challenge, because it's somehow really time consuming, and as well like mentally really like challenging. I mean, if I now, let's say, really go into the details and make this claim comparison, as every word counts, because just the change of one word can mean a quite significant difference in the legal protection. It is mentally and cognitively, if that's a word in English, I don't know, like very challenging. So meaning I can maybe do that for an hour or two, but I mean, it's really not scalable. So meaning it takes a lot of time. It's not scalable, and as we mentioned, I mean, it's easy to miss out something, which of course then has consequences on the conclusions. And as well, now keep in mind, you have a family with protections in Japan, in China, in Germany, in US. Now you somehow have already here 4 languages. If you have the PDFs downloaded or printed out, I mean, you cannot do the comparison. You need to somehow manually make in between steps to have a translation and then compare translation. So a very, very somehow cumbersome process. And that's when we somehow had this the brainstorming session as well with the IMIP community. You see like on the bottom right-hand side, for example, potentially you that have to do this task and somehow dream, how could it be to be somehow easier and nicer? And basically, what do we want to achieve? How should it be? That is really digital and automated. Should be like a direct comparison, highlighting the changes, but not just word by word, but even allowing this change analysis about semantically similar claims. Imagine you have maybe claims 1, 2, 3 of the applications which are merged into the new claim 1 of the granted document. Then you want to make sure that the comparison basically compares apples with apples. So meaning claim 1, 2, 3 with the new claim 1 and the old claim 4 with the new claim 2, for example. So meaning semantically similar things should be done. We should allow like crossing the language barrier, that we can compare China with Japan, for example. And at the end, once you have done it, of course, you would like to have, let's say, a document that you can archive. And that's now basically the the nice transition to what we have released just 2 weeks ago, our AI claim comparer, which basically gives you 3 use cases. So you can start first of all really with the one-to-one comparison, like claim 1 to claim 1, and then word by word, clearly showing the differences. We have then as well the option to adapt this by allowing our AI process to match semantically similar claims with each other. You can then even override things and manually select, no, I don't want to have all 50 claims compared. I only want to compare claim 1 to claim 12, for example. And of course, IMIP allows, let's say, a multilingual, let's say, comparison. So meaning if you have 2 applications or 2 publications from different countries in different languages, we can bridge that with our English, for example, English machine translation and make there a comparison. Good. So let's have a look. I mean, how does it work? So once again, a short question to the audience. Could you maybe put a thumbs up if you can see the new screen with the IMIP platform? Yep, perfect. Great. Thanks a lot. So for the ones that don't know IMIP yet, now we have in our home screen on the one hand, on the left-hand side, the different main functions. that you can use. And then in the central part, we have our, let's say, personalized data. So meaning if you make this regular monitoring process to capture new and potentially relevant documents, it's the monitoring part. In the central part, you can see the results a bit like a news feed from your legal status watches. And then the important part on the right-hand side, what we call portfolios, is the final storage place of relevant patent documents. And let's say now we are having a number of really critical documents here from like an FTO perspective. And you see below, for example, that maybe the evaluations have been done, for example, when the application was there and now the grant popped up, and now we want to really see, as you see on the top right side, for an expert, the opinion, like how do the claims now adapt? And this is now something, of course, we could do manually. So let's say we are specifically interested in the US, then I could activate the US document. I can enter the claims. You'll see a little bit here, let's say how the claims are written. I could then, of course, switch to the granted documents, and I immediately see, okay, there are some more words popping up, but I think you already see it here. It's quite cumbersome. And that's why we have now updated our AI Toolkit panel on the right-hand side. So meaning even the places where you could already use the AI Summarizer, so the tool that makes a technical summary of the patent document, the Claim Clarifier, which helps you to understand the meaning of certain keywords and terms in the claims, and now our new functionality, the AI Claim Comparer. And it works the following. In the, let's say, the normal patent view, you somehow select the starting document, let's say the source document, for example, the US application. And this is then the document that you compare to with what you select here. So let's say in the application phase, we already analyzed the case. It was potentially problematic. So now we would like to see, okay, how did it change now from the application phase to the granted phase? As always in IMIP, we support this multi-window work. So meaning, like you see here, I could take it out, put it on a second screen, and could make a deeper analysis there. But let's start now. So what do we see here? So first of all, just by the background color, we directly highlight to you where are like things identical and where are there any changes. So meaning we see here a lot of changes. We highlight in red in case there is no counterpart on the other side, respectively in green if new claims have been added on the other side. And then in each of those claims where there are differences, we highlight those in green. So meaning here very clearly, the new claim number 1 is smaller. They have basically added more or less another half claim quotation mark. Here a few things have been removed. But at the same time, we see even here, some parts don't really match up. So before maybe spending a lot of time in manually seeing what is really apple to apple, we can now use our AI reordering. And you see now that things changes a bit. The process directly realizes the original claim 1 and 2 have actually been merged into one new claim 1. So meaning we directly see the legal coverage of the final granted claim is definitely smaller than the one from the application. And scrolling down, we see as well the rest is more or less like very, very similar. So not a lot to care about. But what is now interesting, the second, let's say, independent claim here has received quite a number of additional context. So that's definitely smaller. And we even have one claim which doesn't exist at all anymore in the, let's say, granted application. So meaning very quickly, we can jump in from directly with interpretation. We don't have to make this manual where differences first and then do the interpretation. We can directly see what has changed. So that's a bit now to see use case 1 from application to grant. But let's go down a little bit. And let's say we have now this way system here, which is potentially problematic for us because we are developing something similar. And for example, we have a big focus on the Asian market right now. Meaning, as we see by the family, we have still an application ongoing in Germany, not yet granted, but we have 2 granted ones in USEP, and we have 2 granted ones in China and Japan. So now you may want to know, okay, which of these, let's say, Asian documents have the broadest coverage, respectively. Is there any difference in legal protection? So meaning we, for example, start with the Chinese one and select the Japanese one for comparison purposes. I think now we can expand that. And of course, as we see now, there's a lot of green and yellow, green and red popping up, which is of course due to the machine translation. So therefore, as well from a legal perspective, of course, it doesn't replace like a real attorney doing the work. But what I now really like in this case, that I can use again the AI reordering, which basically will match semantically similar claims. And what I see now, for example, right away, that on the Chinese document, we have, let's say, a bit of a broader claim one, because the Japanese first independent claim basically comprises claim 1 and 2 from the Chinese one. So meaning to my main question from before, like where is the broadest coverage? Where do I need to be more careful? It's in this case definitely the Chinese one. And what I can do, of course, in order to maybe more structurally compare things, I could deactivate the differences and then have at least this as a type of a conclusion here. All the things we are doing, they can always be downloaded as a PDF. And then you have a report that you can somehow store and can somehow update along the way. Good. Then maybe just one last thing. If we, for example, think about US continuation divisionals, how is a cumulative approach? Here as well a quite interesting example from a let's say monitoring system for these electrical wagons. And now we see 2 US granted documents. Let's say we are now comparing both of those in order to see what is the legal difference. How do they deviate? Is there potentially any problem for us, or is it potentially very broad and very different? And we can actually see here that a lot of things look quite different. Of course, here there are some issues with the claim 10. So again, let's use the AI reordering. And now what we actually see that the, let's say, claim 10 that was a little bit sticking out is actually just being quotation mark reordered. With the initial claim 15, or not initial, but the claim 15 of this one granted document is actually the claim 10 on the other. So very much identical. And the main difference from a legal coverage perspective is now that this left-hand US granted document is addressing or protecting overhead trolleys where there's something ranged above the road. And on the right-hand side, we have like a normal trolley which is running along the road. So meaning we are basically protecting very similar things, but on the one end, we have cumulative overhead protected and basically normal along protected. And that really shows us a cumulative approach here. Great. I think that's it. So a little bit of a summary. We saw it, visual highlights. You can directly see, we can compare semantically similar claims. We can overcome the language barrier. And therefore, again, a really big thanks to the community, which supported us a lot in shaping the designs iteratively, discussing the functionalities with us. And I think we have a really great way to, on the one hand, have this use case of the monitoring covered. We found a critical application. The grant is out there, what has changed. And even from like a multi-country FTO perspective, you can really see where are the differences in claim coverage, and where's maybe the broadest one, the lowest one. And of course, you are much faster compared to this printing out a manual. you can make better decisions and of course reduce risks in the end of the day. Good. So now we have a few more minutes left for any questions. So I don't know, Claire, if anything has popped up.
Yeah, we just have a couple. Somebody wants to know about the reordering. Can we download that in the PDF, or is it just?
Yeah, a very good question. I can go back to just like an example I have done earlier today. So when you make this PDF download, you basically have everything included. So meaning it starts first with like the text differences here, but then if you go further down, you have this AI reordering results as well. This is now from a German example, but you see here the initial claims 1, 9, and 10 are actually now just the new claim 1. So everything will be downloaded there.
And just another, I think we have time for one more. You mentioned that you can store the PDF. Can we store that in the platform, or?
Yeah, it's a very good question. And if I maybe go back to the platform. So when you work in, here we go. So when you work in portfolio monitoring, now you have always the option to upload attachments. So meaning one thing that you could do, you make the comparison, and then you can upload it directly here. So you will see it later on again, and your colleagues will as well be notified, oh, something was already there, because once you upload it, you will as well have this counter next to this, just like for the reviews. So meaning you can really use it for creating your knowledge database. Any further questions? Anything else?
I think that's it for today.
Perfect. Great. But then thanks all for listening in. If you have any more questions, really just reach out and wish you a nice day. Thank you all. Bye-bye.